Welcome to another Jacob Wayne show. I am your Jacob Wayne, and with me is your Kellen Gibbons. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It's the big 29. That's a lot of that's a lot of episodes.
It is.
Not so much compared to some, but it's a lot compared to some other podcasts.
It's not where you start, it's just that you keep going, right?
Exactly.
It has been interesting to see other new podcasts that have popped up kind of around when we started and just like, oh, they're on number 53 and they're on number 17, and it is interesting.
Indeed.
But there are things going on in the world, but nothing in particular that really stuck out to me in terms of elaboration. So I think we're just going to do another Fireside Chat kind of episode.
Indeed.
Before you do we have anything to promote, announce, anything like that?
Well, I got the COVID shot. I got number 1. I know that's nothing to do with like music or anything or promoting anybody,
you should
but
still drop the music in right there.
Yeah.
You
can also go get the COVID shot.
You can also get the shot here in Colorado, I think as of Friday, 16 and above, I believe.
Yeah, and that's things everybody should go ahead and do. And
I heard some people here are going up to like Cheyenne or going to different spots of Colorado if they can't find a spot in Fort Collins, and a lot of people are anxious to do it, I think. Just get this all done. So
yeah, but I know when I heard in like California, somebody said they had to go at like 2 a.m. They're just running them like crazy, getting everybody get in line and get your time and go. And it's not bad. I hate needles. I just never even saw it. I just looked the other way, and it was over before I knew it. It's easy.
There you go. I definitely wanted to try to coordinate with the roommate, but if not, we'll look into it. It'll be a busy month, so I'm kind of hoping I can fit it in amongst all the stuff, but yeah. Go get your shot. Don't worry about the nanobots. They're really comfortable.
But the first one ain't bad. It's the second one you might want to have a few days after, it sounds like. But some people, nothing. So
it's like a 4-week wait, right?
Yeah. Automatically they schedule you for 4, but you can go in 3 if you want to reschedule, apparently.
Oh.
But I don't care, so.
Yeah, indeed. There's a local band here in Fort Collins releasing a new song, I think, Los Toms.
Who?
So check that out, but I can't even remember the name of the single off the top of my head. Like I said, it's a Fireside Chat episode. Trying to minimize the Googling and clicking. Just chit chat. So go search Los Toms. Fort Collins. Nice. With that, what are you sipping on? 3, 2, 1, blank.
Well, I am doing a repeat. I'm back on the Templin family Albion triple. So the good old Belgian.
What was the main thing that brought you back?
Man, this brewery has me hooked. I love Belgians, and this is just one of the best ones in the liquor store. Comes in a nice 4-pack. It's tasty, and I just it's so easy to grab. Go over there and they have 3 different kinds of beer. You just grab a 4-pack of each of them. It's a good variety, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing for a while. They don't get any
Yeah.
new stuff in.
Awesome. I am also sipping from a brewery that's really won my heart. That's WeldWorks.
Oh yeah.
I am sipping on a Neapolitan ice cream sour,
Oh my
which
god.
I haven't sipped yet, so here's my first taste of this right now.
That sounds interesting. Vanilla and chocolate in a sour. How is it?
It's good. I don't know
Nice.
if it tastes exactly like that.
Do you get some
I
strawberry?
guess it does. It does get real close, though. I mean, WeldWorks usually does sound just like their titles.
Uh-huh.
So I guess after it lingers for a bit, yeah, there's kind of that sour strawberry, and then hints of vanilla and chocolate in there. So yeah, there you
Wow.
go.
I'll have to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
I I had a rainbow sherbet one. Like the
Ooh.
multicolor sherbet stuff. It
Yeah.
tastes like that. It was so good.
That's what I prefer actually when I do ice cream. Way more of a sherbet guy.
Ooh, yeah. I always get Inca Cola and make sherbet floats with it. I used to.
Is it
I haven't done that in a long
sherbet
time.
or sherbet? I always heard sherbet growing up, but I really
Me
don't
too. I
know.
think that's I don't know if that's a Utah thing, but there's not an R there on the actual thing, I don't think. On the actual
Hmm.
product. I think it is sherbet.
Interesting. Yeah,
I,
I think Utah
I'll,
uses pop instead of soda.
yeah. I wonder if they're trying to do like French and they just gave up. Like sorbet. And they're just like, hey, sorbet. And then it just turned into sherbet. It just got
Mm-hmm.
so Utah.
Could be. Um. Yeah, this is a smoothie style sour wheat ale. I have no idea if it's like a limited thing or not. I'll usually like to say the percentage, but I don't know if I'm seeing it. Oh, 7.2.
Oh wow.
So not too bad.
Yeah. For a nice
But
sour.
yeah. So since we're just doing a fireside chatty kind of episode, uh, I'll just bring up something random, bouncing off of what you were just barely saying. Do you remember when Stephen Colbert went on Bill O'Reilly and he was doing his Colbert Report character?
Uh-huh.
And then Bill O'Reilly was just obsessed with getting him to try to admit that isn't the right way to say your last name Colbert? Or, Colbert, it's awfully French saying it like that. And he's just like, what are you trying to say, Bill? It just played into it, but it was such a silly thing to give a fuck about, which, no surprise there.
Well, that's he always is making jokes about that. I haven't seen that though. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, you made it sound French, so he must be up to something. It's just fucking ridiculous.
So is that before he did the show?
It was during, I think, when it was like
Okay.
new, and people were still kind of trying to figure out
What
it was exactly.
Okay. So I thought it came after, so the Colbert Report was like making fun of that exchange.
Yeah. And he just came on as his character, and they probably knew that it's just a character, but like they felt like they needed to expose that it was just a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not actually conservative. He's just as liberal as Jon Stewart. Like, ooh, we got you. And it's just like, yeah, everybody knows that, dude.
Yeah.
But that was like 2005, 6, something like that. So luckily Fox News is way more reasonable these days.
Indeed. That's not crazy at all. It's still news. They haven't admitted that they're what are they, sarcastic, whatever? What do they call themselves? They
Entertainment television.
Oh yeah.
Just yeah, this is opinion-based entertainment.
Okay, that's right.
Something like that. And they're definitely not getting sued by the company that created the voting machines.
Oh yeah,
Not at all.
such bullshit.
Although I did hear an interesting point on Real Time with Bill Maher. I know that guy rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but I've watched that show since right out of high school, and I think he does get a good mix of opinion on there.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how Democratic senators were writing cable companies to basically, are you still going to have Fox News? And if so, why? And
Uh-huh.
to me, that's, I try to be truly fair and balanced. Wink, wink, Fox News. But yeah, that seems a step too far. Like, you don't get rid of Fox News because if you basically deplatform them, they just go underground and turn into these, even more radicalized far right things. And then you can't listen or keep an eye on them. So sadly, in a way, having Fox News on holds their feet to the fire a little bit with their opinions, and people can keep an eye on them.
Just
So to speak.
put one of those little banners across the bottom of the screen every like couple of minutes. It's like, this is entertainment, not news. This is entertainment, not news.
Well, that would be lovely, but that makes me think that if we really had to do that, that's just a failure in our education system. Which I think is already failing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I think kids need to learn how to turn on a TV, realize that we do live in a First Amendment country, and people are gonna lie to you all the time and try to sell you shit. So you gotta learn how to decipher bullshit. And I know when Fox News first came on the scene, I never once was like, this is news. I was like, whoa, this is opinion-based nonsense.
Yeah.
And to me, I think one of the saddest things ever was I always thought, oh, well, the counterbalance to that is just the facts and being honest and just reporting the news matter of factly. But MSNBC and CNN were like, oh, we'll just be the liberal counterpart to that. And so then they started being opinion based and sensationalized, and it just,
yep.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. So you can't really watch any of them and depend on it to be unbiased when there is no unbiased news source. But
you can't listen to anybody for any you can't just get a fact from somebody these days. You have to go check it yourself now. Anything and everything. You got to go find out, check their sources, check your own sources, check those sources. And
yeah,
you just have to do that now. That's the way it is.
And it's okay. Most of the time it isn't that big of a deal to do that. But if you're not in the mood to do that, maybe just don't read the news that day, because there is that thing about reading too many headlines to articles, and before you know it, you're forming strong opinions about shit in your head before you even really read about it.
Yeah, just reading the headlines. Yep.
Did you ever find that meme I sent you? What that concept was? The leaving out stuff purposefully when reporting or talking about.
Oh yeah, like lying by omission. It was something.
Lying by omission. Yeah. That's what it is. But yeah, that's most of, I think, the news media these days is they need you to read their stuff for the clicks, for ad revenue. And so they're going to take a sensational angle on something, make it way bigger than it is, leave out particular bits of information because it doesn't serve the narrative, and they're going to spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, and that is one thing that is happening on both sides for sure. It's just some sides have a lot more holes in the cheese.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an interesting theory.
They're both making an unhealthy dessert. but at least one of
Yeah.
them, like, part of the ingredients are facts, like, at least this was locally sourced and organic sugar.
Yeah.
Still not great to have way too much of it, but hey, probably better to eat this slice of pie than that one.
Yeah. And then and usually like the the lies that are within or things that are omitted aren't quite as uh incriminating in most cases,
Hmm.
but still shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. I would recommend, if you have the chance, maybe take a little bite of pie from somebody else's slice and then go have a salad. Read a
There
good
you go.
book.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, has your book situation changed much? You reading anything new?
No, I haven't gotten started on my new book yet, so I'm still waiting to read that last one I talked about. Just
Mm-hmm.
haven't had much time for such activities.
I'm still working my way through Thinking Fast and Slow. I guess it's not reading fast at all and reading slow.
That sounds like
But
a good book to work through slow.
yeah, because you really do want to wrap your head around the concepts. Because like with a novel, it's so easy to just burn through it, and you retained it, but maybe some of the little details fall through the cracks
Yep.
because you're just on that flow. But I did purchase a new book from Neil deGrasse Tyson just to make sure I had it, and I did read a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of it. It's Cosmic Queries. That's a section on his podcast, and they kind of just took all these questions that people write in and turned it into a book, and kind of started the Big Bang and theories of science and the scientific theory, and kind of form the narrative of the book through those cosmic query questions. And he's got all his random little tweets in there, and his other book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, was really
Yeah.
good. And I think I talked about that, but I had it on audio tape.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So I didn't retain a lot of it. So once again, when he released a new one, I wanted to make sure I got a physical copy. And I need to get a physical copy of that other one so I can reread it. And yeah, I would highly recommend it, but I'm barely through it. But I think you know what you're getting with that book. Most people kind of get the drift with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. He has a style for sure.
Mm-hmm. Uh, any new music stuff?
Um, I haven't been listening to it yet, but I did see a new person I'm gonna have to go check out. I saw this like young vibraphonist that was like jamming in like a park in New York City,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot how he's like a pretty young dude. And he already has an album out on Blue Note Records. Um,
Okay.
trying to find his name.
While you're looking for that, I can mention some new releases that came out this Friday. One of my
Oh
favorite
yeah,
things on Spotify is just the new releases for you. And just every Friday, there's like kind of a chunk of songs to try out. Some of them don't hit, some of them do. So I can definitely update this every week. The songs that really stuck out to me were The Melting of the Sun by St. Vincent. I'm a huge St. Vincent fan, and she's got a new record coming out called Daddy's Home. That's coming out on May 12th, I believe, and she's performing on Saturday Night Live tonight.
oh nice.
Yeah. There was a pretty good track called In It to Win It by Brad Sucks. And I can't even
Huh?
remember how old the band Brad Sucks is or where I got into it, but it's just really mellow, kind of matter of fact indie rock, but it was a good, tasty track. Um, we try not to dabble in too much negativity on this podcast, but The Offspring released a new track called We Never Have Sex Anymore.
Huh.
and it's terrible. And the only reason it's terrible is that if there was a band that did this kind of soft dad rock thing, but that's all they ever did, like say Nickelback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's sad is it's like I feel like some Nickelback tracks like fuck harder than these songs. And it's just sad because I loved The Offspring growing up, but I think it was around Americana got silly, but it worked. And then the album after that, Conspiracy of One, got real silly. And just way too poppy, and it was just like, this sucks. And it's just gone down that route. Green Day went down that route. They're just totally over mixing the guitars. Everything has claps now. And then there's inevitably a part that goes, ooh, oh, 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 ooh, oh, 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 we never have sex anymore.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, just blech. That's, what did they call that? The hipster wail? I always forget it, but yeah, that, ooh, oh, oh, oh.
You can't do that anymore, can you? Have enough people done that in a song that, like, you could get sued for it now? You can't go, oh, 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 oh. Didn't they do that?
Know.
Maybe Offspring just did that.
Yeah, just that kind of gang vocal, weird hipster wail. There's a good YouTube video on that, and I wish I remembered who was the creator, but he basically broke it down, and this is when it first started showing up in music, and he makes a good point that adding that to your song or your music really isn't that bad. I mean, it's like you have a song where it's like la 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 la, and if you just have that section, it's like there's the la 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 part, but it's just become so much par for the course that it's in everything that it's like what happened to Sriracha. Everybody loves Sriracha, and then they started using it in everything, and then it's just like, just like I just don't care. I don't need Sriracha chips. I just want Sriracha in my ramen noodles, basically. But to continue, sorry, it really made me sad when I hit those Offspring songs. I was just like, ah, God,
what happened to you?
Yeah.
Well,
hey, that's a good Offspring song. What in the world happened to you? That's one of the good ones. Yeah, but two more songs real quick. Don't Do It by Courtney Barnett featuring Vagabond. It's kind of like that indie sort of new grunge thing that's been going on in Australia. It's just nice and mellow, but I thought it was good. And Real Affair remix featuring Vince Staples by Tiana Major 9 and featuring Vince Staples. And that's just kind of like a sexy, nice little R&B track. So that was the new releases on my end, other than I mentioned Tomahawk last episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've been listening to that vinyl still, and it kicks ass. So Tonic Immobility, check it out.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy I was looking for is Joel Ross. So yeah, he's a
That's
young...
Joe or Joel?
Joel.
Okay.
So it's he's a young vibraphonist, and apparently he just tears it up. I just saw that little clip and it was awesome, so I'm going to go listen to his albums. But that's who I've just barely stumbled across and am looking forward to getting into a little bit. Nice. I really like the vibes, though. That's one of my favorite instruments.
The vibes of the vibraphone.
Yeah, I just like that stuff, especially like jazz.
For the layman, can you break down what that instrument is? I don't know if a lot of people know what that is.
Well, it's you've definitely heard it. It's like it's the quintessential elevator music, like jazz usually, ding, 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 the little like kind of bell sound. So what it is, it's like kind of like a marimba, but it's steel, or I don't know what they're made out of, but like metal, like the things they play. Like I can't think of the name, like the keys, basically big.
Mm-hmm.
When they hit those, and they're over these resonating cavities, and those are driven by a motor that like kind of vibrates, so it kind of gives it a little shimmer, and they can control the speed of that. So
Yeah.
it's got a really cool sound. You can turn the motor off, and yeah, it's a cool instrument. And there's some incredible players. One of my favorite is Gary Burton, who's getting up there now. He's a old school dude. There's a great video of him playing a song called Opus Half. That's just insane. You know, they're playing with mallets. So he plays so fast. I don't know how he does it.
Hmm. That's cool. Is the instrument expensive or more affordable for people?
Oh no, they're pretty pricey. They're usually like
Yeah.
in schools. So I think most people who
Okay.
play one end up having to go, practice at the school a lot. Which
Is
always
that the
kind of
percussion? What?
yeah, it's
what?
in the percussion section. So
Okay.
it's kind of interesting how I think that kind of affects all the instruments a little bit, like organists are different because they have to go to a church or something or some
Yeah.
big hall that has that organ. Like you have to practice on one of those. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're not getting high and drunk a little bit and putting effects pedals on it and just way.
Yeah, they don't get to sit at home and like, oh, I got an idea. Let me try that out.
Yeah,
They
that is
probably have
interesting.
keys to the church. Like, I bet most of them have worked that out. But yeah, it is kind of
Yeah,
interesting. The instruments that are a little more unwieldy. Like I had a friend that played harp. That thing's kind of massive and a whole thing. And it kind of goes
yeah.
out of tune. That's a lot of strings and all this stuff. And yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That is an interesting concept because a big term that's kind of gained popularity over the last few years is gatekeeping.
Uh huh.
And yeah, there's probably like some gatekeeping in different genres of music like metal and bluegrass and stuff.
Oh, but none like jazz.
Oh, sure. That's a well guarded gate. That's like the fucking Berlin Wall.
The problem with jazz is there's like all the people who also want to get in are also gatekeeping. Like all the people who
Yeah.
are being gate kept also gatekeep.
It's almost like they've been brainwashed into keeping the gate.
I I think there might not even be a gate. That's the whole point of jazz.
It's all about the gates you're not guarding, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You fear jazz.
Are you aware of the movement that is jazz?
um, but yeah, the side point of that is like there's kind of like instruments that have built-in gatekeeping to a degree. It's just like you can't go and get all weird and experimental with it based on access. It's not
Yeah,
that anybody's really keeping you from doing it, it's just harder to do it. It's like people getting into hockey. There's so much
yeah.
expensive gear. That is a little gatekeepy, I guess, because
Oh, for
rich
sure.
people can do it, but or maybe not rich, but
Oh man,
definitely
I was on the
somewhat
hockey
well to
team.
do.
I was on the hockey team, and we're not that didn't grow up poor, and but I was the poorest kid on the hockey team, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was definitely some money there, big time.
yeah. And I think that was kind of the thing. I had a hockey stick and a goal, and I think I might have talked about this as well, but go out into the cul-de-sac when it would ice over in the winter,
Oh yeah,
and we'd kind of just have our shoes and we'd, scoot along and just shoot.
good times.
But basketball was so much easier. Just have a ball and a hoop. And they
Yep,
were all over, so you're like, okay.
exactly.
But do you remember back on the instrument thing when we had the accordion? Is that was
Yeah,
your accordion, right? Or did we just borrow that?
no, that's mine. It's sitting right
Okay.
over there. I can see
Yeah,
it.
I remember there was a bit of that fun, like just kind of getting it out. And there's such a conventional way to play that thing that you're just inherently like, how do you make this weirder?
Yeah,
And that was a lot of fun.
yeah. It is a interesting instrument
Hmm.
for sure. There's all kinds
There,
of interesting instruments.
I think even it wasn't even with you guys in my younger days, like 18, 19 even. I don't think I was even 21 yet. I was hanging out with some 21-year-old and olders, and they were letting me have some beers, and they're like, just come over and jam and play some bass. And I wasn't anywhere near where I'm at now, and the whole music theory was way over my head, so I'm sure I was kind of obnoxious, but they seemed to enjoy it to a degree.
Nice.
And they had an accordion there one time, and I was like, oh my, here, play my bass. I want to sit on this thing. And I was just all like high as shit, like trying to do weird shit to whatever they were doing. And, they're kind of more like indie rock, like, we're rocking out in B, man. Like, whatever. And I'm just sitting here like, well, I have to think of it like a monster's lung or something. And just being a cheesy fucking 19-year-old.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Any
awesome.
other music type things?
No, I got nothing.
All right, so I suppose I'll move on to movies real quick.
Cool.
Before I hopped in here to do the podcast, and this might be why I'm a little like, I don't even know what to really think right now, is I just watched Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, yeah.
And that movie's fucking dumb.
Oh, yeah.
It's really fucking dumb to me.
Oh, boy.
But I'm trying to be fair here. It is exactly what it says it is. And
yeah.
Like even in the opening credits, like the bracket system for like the NCAA tournament or like basketball playoffs or whatever.
Yeah.
They literally like remind you about all the movies that led up to this and just show you tiny clips from the old movies.
Oh, boy.
Of him fighting monsters, and then it like comes up like defeated, and they like scoot along the bracket, and then championship round, Godzilla versus Kong, and you're just like, oh my god.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately though, it's not cheesy enough to be fun, at least in my opinion. It's like melodramatic. You don't give a fuck about the human characters, and you're just like, when are they just gonna punch each other and
just get to it.
Fling buildings at each other, like, and it's 2 hours long and it feels like it's fucking 4 hours.
Oh, man.
And it's so fucking boring, but visually beautiful. There were moments where I'm like looking at some of the CGI and all that stuff, and I'm like, wow, I can't wait till they use that kind of stuff in
a good movie.
Another movie. And so I was impressed by it on that level. It is exactly what it says it was going to be, so you really can't hate them for it, but
yeah.
Man. And I should have known because I watched Godzilla, the first one in this whole universe, I guess. Like that was in like 2014 or something. And that one, once again, visually great, but boring as fuck. Like I was amazed by how bored I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe I'm just older. The big vrosh, bang, bang, bang explosion stuff, like, doesn't do anything for me. Like, a lot of franchises I love, like the MCU or Star Wars, some of the new stuff, it's like, give me just character-driven things and really tiny moments between two characters talking. And I love that stuff. That's why Joker talking to Batman in the interrogation room was so awesome. It was just this intimate psychological exploration of these characters.
Uh-huh.
And then when it gets into, we get it, the terrorists are actually the clowns, and the clowns are it's like, I don't care. Like it, but the 8-year-old me would have like shit himself watching this movie. So I have to respect that.
Yeah.
This is just not a movie meant for me. But I think we can go ahead and announce it. We're still kind of making sure everybody's schedule works out. But Godzilla vs. Kong was one of the HBO Max simultaneous theater streaming service release thing. So I've been liking watching those as they come out, just because it really is kind of an unprecedented thing in the film industry.
Yeah.
So far, it's been The Little Things with Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek, and that sucked. Judas and the Black Messiah, that was awesome. I didn't even bother to watch Tom and Jerry because that's definitely not for me. And that's kind of funny. It should have been Tom versus Jerry, and then just Godzilla and Kong. But yeah, it's Godzilla and Kong versus Kong was the fourth one to release from that list. So far, I'm gonna keep coming back to this over many episodes. Judas and the Black Messiah has been the best one so far. Word. Mortal Kombat is the next one. And so for next episode, we're going to do a drinking game / commentary for the original Mortal Kombat movie, which I definitely shit my pants over when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
The soundtrack was incredible. It's just got so much great cheesy 90s nostalgia to it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's another movie that knows exactly what it is.
Yep.
Have you seen that? I forget.
Oh, not since I was a kid. It's been a long time.
Awesome. So that should be a very fun special episode when we're going to release it, kind of, leading up into this Mortal Kombat release.
Yeah.
And whenever we can kind of sync it up like that, I think we'll try. But yeah, that does make me a little nervous for the new Mortal Kombat. It looks sweet. I saw the trailer. Trailers obviously are almost like their own little mini movies, and they can be awesome. And then you see the actual movie, and you're like, that's not even the same tone.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for the new one, but I do fear that it's just a lot of like the slow down bass, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm old. I want Scorpion sitting there reading a book, talking to Sub-Zero about their dichotomy and how they're really both sides of one whole. There's some shit like that, but
yeah, it's probably going to be more the first thing, but it could be both.
Just give me a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I can deal with some frosh.
There you go.
As far as that goes, did I mention I watched Liar Liar on the last episode? I kind of lost track.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Sometimes we get going on these subjects and we kind of forget a little bit, but one thing that I realize I miss doing due to streaming is listen to commentaries. And like specifically directors' commentaries where they can kind of go over the process of making the movie.
Yeah.
And our internet went down for some scheduled maintenance. We weren't totally ready for it. So I was like, well, shit, I'm not going to bed anytime soon. And usually we'd be doing Valheim, and it's like, nope, can't do that. So I went and got a bunch of DVDs that Shockey has, and I went downstairs. I threw in Liar Liar, and I was like, hey, DVD commentary. Let's throw that on. So I've seen Liar Liar so many times that I don't even need to hear the dialogue. You just like watch it, and I'm like, yep, there's that scene. That's great. And it was cool to listen to the director. A lot of it was really straightforward and just patting Jim Carrey on the back for being a great physical actor and comedian, which he is.
Yeah.
All I was going to point out is at the very end of Liar Liar, Jim Carrey brings back one of his iconic characters from In Living Color, Fire Marshal Bill. And he's in the background at the very end when Jim Carrey's on the stretcher. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie from 1999. And he's sitting there talking to his son, and there's a bunch of people kind of gathered around, and he's in the back, like, on the basically walkie-talkie, just, and I was like, how the fuck did I miss that all these years?
Oh,
but
wow.
I was glad the director pointed it out. Now I'll never not see it.
Now you know. That's awesome.
So, go rewatch Liar Liar. It's a great movie.
With the commentary on. I need to watch a lot of movies with the commentary on.
Yeah. It's great for painting. Because with the movie you really know, so then you're kind of learning something new about a movie you love, but you also don't really have to be watching it that much. It's more listening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that a lot with movies I didn't even give a shit about, like Original Sin or yeah.
There you
That's
go.
I'll be totally honest. This is a place of honesty and trust. I only had that DVD because Angelina Jolie fucked Antonio Banderas, and I wanted to see that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and it was back Graywell when that CD
Oh,
store and DVD store was in Logan, Utah.
good times.
Yeah, you could get like 3 movies for $10 or something. So I'd be like, yeah, try that out. It has Angelina Jolie's titties.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Oh, titty residue.
Get the commentary. What did he have to say about that scene? You remember?
No. I think the director was like very like self-important, and it was a boring commentary. But he's like, oh, obviously they're two very attractive people, and so that's part of what makes the scene work. I was like, yeah. So anyway, that's enough about my masturbation material from back in the day. Uh, Video game stuff, we're still rocking Valheim.
Yep.
We just got Iron,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
we got it finally. I don't know if anyone else is in the same boat, but eh, eh,
Same longbow.
same longboat. But
Yeah.
we it took us forever. How many swamps? Like 3 different swamps we kind of scoped. No, I guess that was
We
the
did
third
2
swamp.
kind of major ones, and we
Yeah,
scooted onto a third. They're kind of like in these little island patches.
and then
And yeah, man, like
we hit the mother load.
we were getting it, and I was just like, I think that's what I said was like, man, this isn't as good as like having an orgasm, but it's like 3 sneezes in a row. I was like, oh my
Yep.
god, it's so satisfying to finally find some.
Yeah.
And I know some people, they play that game all day. Got a group of like 4 to 5 people. They probably got there a little faster than we did, but it really felt like an accomplishment for just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Kind of playing a couple hours every night.
Yeah. It took a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the cool thing about this game. Nothing comes easy.
No, it doesn't. We're like, God damn it, we got to go pick berries. And it's kind of dangerous.
More punching necks and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
So I suppose as if we just touch on video games every episode, like that's kind of part of the review is, yeah, we're still playing it and getting a lot of satisfaction out of it. So keep that in mind if you haven't tried the game yet.
Oh, it's good.
I keep neglecting my buddies that have been playing Smash Bros. And I'm just like, sorry, I gotta find iron. And then it's like tonight I was gonna maybe get on with them, and then I was like, see,
I
we found
found
iron. Now I want to do something with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good game.
Indeed.
So we have hit music, movies, video games. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as far as TV goes, has been pretty solid, but it's still kind of picking up pace. That's the next installment in the MCU,
Oh yeah.
Phase 4. I think I liked WandaVision a little more up to this same point. I think they just showed the 3rd episode. I haven't seen that yet. A lot of people said it was awesome, so maybe that will change my position, but that's kind of, as far as shows go, that's what I'm watching, and always slowly working my way through The Wire. For some reason, I can't binge that show.
Yeah.
And waiting for Better Call Saul, the last season that ended, to come out on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that show through still.
Oh, it's great.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Any shows in particular you're watching?
Well, I was going through the Seinfeld a lot, like just pretty much straight through Seinfeld, which I still am going, but I got a little, for some reason, I just got a mad itch to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, so I'm kind of hopping back and forth between those two, and I'm also watching Killing Eve, with the lady friend.
Ah.
So that's a fun one.
What's that? Let's kind of give me the general premise.
Well, Sandra Oh
Mm-hmm.
from Grey's Anatomy likes to I think she kind of is like a true crime into that stuff, and she likes female serial killers, and then she ends up getting to hunt one, and they have this kind of weird relationship, and that's all I'll say. But it's good. It's really good.
Cool.
She's good in it, but the other lady is like, ooh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's a cool assassin. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, not to that does sound good. I was gonna go back just a little bit. I realized I've never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've watched like a clip here and there.
Oh yeah?
So maybe after we're done with the Chappelle show, maybe you could take me through some of those. Or just
that'd be fun.
first season or whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't know.
First,
Yeah.
I was gonna say the pilot's a little tough. Like it's kind of got to get through the pilot. The pilot isn't as good as
As
some
with
of the other
most
ones.
shows,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm amazed when the first episode of a show is actually good.
So that one might even be worth like watching at the end of the first season. Let it kind of win you over a little more.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Curb. There's like not much. It's usually a story within an episode. So
Yeah.
but oh yeah, there's some episodes of that that I just are so good. I love the Black Swan is one of my favorites.
Okay.
So
I imagine that came out around the time of the Black Swan movie.
I'm not sure even.
Ballerina stuff, dancing.
No, it's about a swan on a golf course.
Oh, okay.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, this kind of day and age, as you get older, your friends move around. You can't sit on the same couch and watch a show. Like, get in a Discord and having a watch together option is great. And we've been going through Chappelle's show. We're going to talk more about that in a future episode. But yeah, maybe that's the approach. We do like one season of a show, let it marinate for a bit, jump onto another one. If you're feeling it, jump back to the other show. Or, I mean, Chappelle's show is only 2, really, so just burn through it. But
yeah.
Yeah, that's what's been hard for me is I do have kind of busy days, so by the time I'm actually sitting down to watch like a show, usually for my watching around dinner time and whatever, it's a movie. But I've just been like throwing on Friends to fall asleep because I watched that with my sisters and my mom, so it's kind of like nostalgic for me.
Yeah,
and it's total comfort. Like, Phoebe's terrible, Ross is annoying, Joey, good one, Joey, and then I just drift off, and my shit turns off automatically, and it's perfect. So it's like sometimes I'm like, ooh, I want to watch that, but I can't. I'll fall asleep and miss the plot points or whatever. So
that same thing is happening with Seinfeld. I've found. Like I that's got some nostalgia, so I do end up dozing. So I check it the next day, and I'm like, oh, like slept through an episode. Okay, go back, watch that one.
Do you have a favorite episode of that off the top of your head?
Oh man,
in this rewatch.
Well, let's see. So far in the rewatch, it's I'm still in I think I'm on the end of season 2. Mm-hmm. So see the jacket, that one's pretty good. Yep.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
If you're into Seinfeld, you know what he's talking about.
So, yep.
I've always been a fan of George becoming a hand model. That kind of popped in my head recently.
Oh yeah, that one hasn't happened yet, but I love that one.
So you're in season 4?
No, I'm at like the end of season 2, I think.
Oh wow, okay, you got a way to go.
Yeah, so there's so much. It's awesome.
I think if I remember from the commentaries and stuff like that, the show was really like kind of having a hard time living week to week. And then I think they say the Chinese restaurant episode where it takes place in one scene.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
That was like the moment where the show started to like click with people and started to take off. And then season 3 and especially 4 was when it blew up. 4 is like one of the biggest episodes was the contest.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's another favorite from the whole series. That is a good one.
Yeah. And I remember growing up in Utah, like when these shows like Seinfeld or Simpsons would come out, they were probably, whatever around the rest of the country, but a lot of Mormons are like, I don't like how much casual sex they're having.
Yeah.
And, all that stuff. And so it was kind of forbidden, which just made it cooler. You'd go over to your friend's house where they got to watch it. And I remember watching the contest and not understanding. I was like, they're just trying to not have sex? Like,
Yeah.
And then I was just like, the whole concept of masturbation didn't make any sense to me at the time. And Lord knows I became a big fan not too long after.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. With that, and thank you, Elaine.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. With that, how about we get into our ending segments? Let's do a little bit of philosophy.
Philosophy. Quite preposterous. Haberdashery. Yes.
I dare say. Do tell.
Yes.
Quite. Think deeps.
All right, so this one is the big question. Like, I don't even have to say it. It's like the big philosophy question. Can you guess what it is?
McDonald's or Burger King?
How did you know? No, it's
a
actually
big question.
Duck season or rabbit season?
Duck.
No, but really, it's literally, this is the one the number generator threw out. What is the meaning of life?
To live.
There you go. See you next week, philosophy.
Bye. No, I actually saw that the other day, and somebody put it way more poetically, but it was like the tragedy of life is that so many people run around desperately seeking meaning and forget to notice that the reason, the purpose of life is to live it and not much else.
There you go.
Just try to be happy and comfortable, and as you know, as an intelligent being, if you treat other people well, it comes back and they treat you well.
Yeah.
So,
just do your thing. Do what makes you happy.
So, I suppose, I don't know, let's just jump into the next segments. But that did raise an interesting concept to me, though. What is that thing that's been going around where it's like the 23 questions you ask somebody and you're supposed to like answer it as quickly as you can?
Oh, I haven't even heard of that recently.
That just occurred to me that could be a fun thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
Plug it into the philosophy section.
That could be. Maybe we'll have to look that up for next time.
Yeah. I did have one in my back pocket, but I honestly feel like it's actually could be a long conversation. And once again, we're kind of, we're almost at an hour. So yeah, I'll save it for another episode.
That sounds good.
Cool. So with that, let's get into Dear Jacob Wayne.
Hello, Jacob Wayne.
Hello. Hello.
All right. My M44 wife, F44. So that means a 44-year-old man,
Are they
His
Transformers?
wife. I guess so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, this dude's wife, and they're both the same age, believes that there should be no passwords on devices. We should share social media accounts, share email accounts, etc. She believes this is typical of most or all healthy relationships. I'm not keen on the idea at all. Both of us are married. Both of us are 44, married for 20 years. So, yeah, interesting. We had a lot more arguments throughout 2020 than we have had before that. 2 kids. I work in the software industry. She doesn't work. She says that to have a completely trustworthy marriage, a couple needs 100% disclosure, 100% transparency, because that's 100% honesty. She cites that her mother and her mother's third husband have a great marriage, and that they share Facebook, email, and Instagram accounts, and use each other's phones regularly. My wife believes this is typical of couples with good marriages. I do not. My work does require passwords on my phone and computers. And she feels that she should have those passwords and be welcome to browse my electronics anytime. I feel this is the opposite of trust, creating a situation where no trust is needed because there's no privacy. She's been pushing on this enough, though, that I decided to find out if I'm just deluding myself and thinking that separate accounts are normal. And I just so you know, this is not one that was actually sent to us. This is one I found. And the first person that tried to help them
I don't think we have a lot of 44-year-old listeners.
Yeah. Well, they got
do.
help from Stinkiest Bum is the username. So that's the first person to respond. So you can get better advice than Stinkiest Bum by sending in your advice letters to Koshka@gmail.com. Okay, what do you think about this one?
Well, first of all, don't get your advice from the stinkiest bum. Get it from the rosiest bum.
Touche.
My culo is like the cheeks of Santa Claus. Smells like Christmas too.
Potpourri.
My main advice is get a fucking divorce.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Run away.
But if you want your marriage to work, and maybe she's a great person, she's just psychotic about this thing. Here's the thing. She's delusional. I think she's suffering from I'm stuck at home and you go out and you work and I don't know what you're up to and I don't trust you and I'm jealous of you going out, so you're probably looking at other women, blah, 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 blah. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, reasonable.
And here's the thing. You should totally have separate phones, separate Facebook, separate emails. I hate those shared phone numbers and shared Facebook pages. It's just gross.
They're personal accounts. That's like it's for one person. It's weird.
Yeah, I hate the shared account thing. Like it really makes me sick.
Especially when the middle name is apostrophe N.
Yeah. I'm barely learning to accept couples' names, like the shared couple name.
Oh, like Brangelina?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago and I still am not happy. I don't even think they're a couple anymore.
I don't think anybody's happy about that one, but you know, I've heard somewhere it's like, yeah, all right, it's just shorthand, but don't share a Facebook or whatever. And of course you need passwords on your phone, because what if you lose it? Leave it on a bus, leave it in the massage parlor you go to get away from your wife. But my point being is you also should not have anything to hide on your phone. And I will say that. Like, if your wife was... And, you know, that's where it gets touchy, because you're like, why do you always want to fucking check my phone to see if I'm cheating on you or whatever? Like, that gets annoying. But if she's like, let me see your phone, I want to find something, you should be, all right, here. Yeah. Hand it right over and not have to worry about anything that's on there. This raises almost a more interesting philosophical question to me than the actual philosophy question that we had this episode.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like if, say you had porn on your phone and you were looking at it, you didn't want her to find out, like that, to me, you shouldn't have a relationship unless you're completely communicating that you watch porn. and you're like, hey, sweetie, sometimes you're not always there. I'm on the road, or you're visiting your mom, or it's been 4 hours and you're asleep. Kind of want to work one out. That's what I'm into. And if she can't accept that, then I just think you should end the relationship. I think there are certain things in life, like, do you like porn or don't you? Are you religious or are you not? Are you vegetarian? If so, can your partner eat meat? And if you won't budge, like, don't waste your time trying to change the other person.
Yeah, for real.
Just find somebody else.
Indeed.
So that's why I think this couple should just get a divorce. Or he should just put his foot down and like, look, we're getting a divorce unless you just stop doing it. Stop badgering me about this. And she should feel the right to do that to him. She's like, look, we're getting a divorce unless you open up your accounts and you share our Facebook together. It's be 44 squared.
And then he can feel totally justified to be like, I'm out.
All right, peace.
For sure.
We'll split custody of the kids, I guess. Bye-bye. What happens when you take 44 squared and you cut that in half? Divided by 2. Bye.
Oh. Say, that's an advanced problem to do in your head.
Yeah, I can't do it. Actually, this is how much adults need, like, math revisiting. Like, I'm even 44 squared is 44 times 44, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I am right about that. Man, I can't do that in my head.
No.
I mean, I could if we sat here, but it'd be a lot of dead air.
Yeah. I could figure it out, but why?
But then divided by 2.
You know what?
Interesting.
You know what, math teacher? Turns out.
What's that?
Guess what I have in my pocket all the time?
What's a calculator?
Goddamn calculator.
That is true. But it's kind of like that thing with Google. It's like when you're sitting around, you're watching something like, what's that actor's name? Try really hard to just remember it. Like, don't immediately pull out your phone.
Oh yeah, I'm of that mindset for sure. I always try, but I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
But where I totally flip on that is if you're having an argument. No, that person said this. I'm like, dude, Google now instead of us getting mad at each other.
Yeah.
Like, just sorry. Like, and Google isn't always right, but it's always right.
it'll get you there real quick.
Yeah. And once again, yeah, double check your references, check your sources, and it'll say the same thing. And you're okay. I guess there isn't nanobots in my shot. You're right.
Indeed.
But all right. With that, let's just get into some weird news and call it good.
Word news. Like that. So, Idaho is kind of like even more Florida-y than Utah. So this one is very close to hometown. This takes place in Pocatello. You been to Pocatello?
I have some cousins that lived there.
Oh yeah, so you visited.
No, wait. I'm sorry. They lived in. Oh, see, don't Google it. Try to remember. They moved to Burley.
Oh.
But they.
You want me to start?
They moved to Burley from Rexburg.
That's the one I was going to guess.
So we would always stop in Pocatello. My sister had some soccer tournaments up there.
Yeah.
I like that town.
I do too. That's actually where my lady friend lived before she moved out of town. She's going to school up there. But
nice.
Anyway, so here's your we were talking about Utah man, and Southern Idaho man is basically a Utah man. I know they wouldn't like to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So, police report Man's nose bitten off during fight outside Pocatello bar. So, a local man had his nose bitten off during a fight outside a Pocatello bar early Sunday morning.
Were they arguing about, I could totally bite off your nose? No, you couldn't.
You couldn't do shit.
What's the term? It's not bone.
The cartilage.
Yeah, the cartilage would hold steady. You pussy.
Yeah, you have to bite pretty far up to get to the bone. So yeah, it would probably. I don't know.
Mike Tyson biting the ear off of Evander Holyfield.
Ooh.
That's way easier. He just got the lobe.
See, that's what I don't want to know. I want to know, but I don't want to know at all. Like how much of the nose is actually bitten off. So, because I'll keep going and you'll see why, because it's kind of interesting. The incident began to unfold around 1:10 a.m. Sunday during a birthday party celebration at the Odyssey Bar. Ended with Brandon Daly of Pocatello having his nose bitten off. The altercation began when Daly and another man, Derek Otero, also of Pocatello, got into an argument at the party inside the bar that soon turned physical and continued outside of the bar. Otero began acting disorderly inside the bar and aggressively grabbed Daly while standing behind him. After Otero grabbed Daly, a verbal altercation ensued and ultimately turned physical once both parties went outside. Outside, Daly pinned Otero to the ground and began punching him repeatedly in the face. At this point, Otero grabbed Daly's head and bit his nose off.
Let me stop you right there. Is it O'Daly and O'Hare?
Otero and Daly.
Okay, Daly and Otero.
Yeah.
I keep, for some reason, because you're saying those names, I keep picturing, and then Sherry O'Terry from SNL's off to the side. Doing her cheerleading thing with Will Ferrell. O'Farrell. Anyway.
Will O'Farrell. I love that.
Sherry O'Terry's amazing. I got kind of a crush on her.
Chabuchi.
But no, back to nose biting.
Okay. So someone at the bar quickly retrieved the severed nose and put it on ice so that it could be reattached. So Pocatello police and fire units responded and transported him to the hospital. Otero suffered injuries to his face and head, but did not require hospitalization. Police on Sunday said they cited both men for disturbing the peace, a misdemeanor punishable by a maximum of 6 months in jail and $1,000. Both men will remain free pending the adjudication of their cases because police do not take people they cite into custody. On Monday, police said both men were cited for disturbing the peace because both men were equally involved in the altercation until the point Otero bit off Daly's nose. Police said Otero told officers that he bit off Daly's nose in self-defense as he was afraid for his life while he was getting punched in the face.
Yes.
And so Janelle Daly,
the nose was
wife,
also taken into custody for cocaine possession.
Oh, it got reattached. They reattached his nose.
Wow.
He is now at home recovering. But his wife said she is worried about the healing process and has fears it might not take or can get infected. And she says he should have not been charged with anything. He was never an aggressor. It was self-defense, but so yeah. That's
the
exciting.
wife of the noseless man is happy because she doesn't have to shower anymore.
That
made me think of something in there. Yeah, that's just wild. How do you get to the point of biting off somebody's nose? It just never occurs to me.
I haven't been in a fight in a really long time, like since like school days, and but that seems like it'd be farther down the list, especially if your hands are free enough to grab him to pull the nose down. Like I feel like I would try other things first, but
I try to if I'm doing it dirty because I know I'm not going to win the fight, I'm just going to kick him in the nuts. I'm not going to try to bite his nuts off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not one to fight for fun. If I'm ever in a fight, it's not going to be because I want to be in a fight. So
because I have to.
Yep, but it's going to be me trying to end it very quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I had a couple other bad nose jokes, but I think I ran dry. Wasn't too runny with the jokes.
Didn't they got a little stuffed up with the comedy?
Yeah. Well. Well, with that, that was an amazing episode of the Jacob Wayne Show, number 29. Next time we talk to you, it should be Mortal Kombat.
Yay.
Movie commentary.
Fatality.
Reptile.
I like the guy with the half moon blades. Cabal?
Yeah, he wasn't in the movie. He's going to be in the new one. He wasn't in the original.
Oh, okay. That's who I always
that's what I was going to do. That's what I was going to do right before we go. I'm going to give another Guess That Movie challenge for a mug.
Oh, nice.
If you can guess my favorite movie where a character gets their nose bitten off, like of all the movies to have a character's nose get bitten off, this is my favorite one. If you can guess it, you get a Jacob Wayne Show mug.
Is it serious or a comedy, or of a comedy?
You gonna narrow it down?
Can we, or is there?
Sure,
there's a pretty wide thing, right?
I guess the question is there any serious movies that have noses getting bitten off?
Well, in that case, then it doesn't narrow it down.
It's a comedy.
Okay,
I'll give it that.
That's all we have to say.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if I was thinking of the right one. So,
and it has a great line. If you don't think of it by episode 31, I'm gonna reveal what it is because it is a great line.
And then I get the mug.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
A little mug.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to The Jacob Wayne Show. If you would like to contact us, please write us at fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Simply search The Jacob Wayne Show and it should pop right up. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Please write us. It helps add content to the show and makes the show even better for you, the listener. Thanks for tuning in.